Hey guys, Desolator here, and as requested by a very popular request, I'm going to show you how to build a Bitcoin miner from scratch. And I'm probably the most qualified to do this. I've built a couple hundred custom computers in my time, and a lot of Bitcoin mining rigs going back to 2011. So we're going to turn this potato into a Bitcoin miner. And honestly, don't buy everything brand new. It's not worth it. It's just a complete and utter waste of your money. So this actually is a Gigabyte B85 board. That's Haswell 4th edition, last one to have DDR3, which is really nice. And this case is just like an absolute travesty. It's some like unbranded generic garbage that like PDS uses or something. But who cares? I mean, honestly, you don't even need a case. It's just kind of nice. So, without getting into hardware choice, because that's like a whole other 30-hour video, I was going to say 30-minute, but it probably is 30-hour, I'll just go down what we got. We got a little Pentium chip in here, low wattage, whatever. We got 2 sticks of 2 gig, because they're like $6 a piece. 3 PCI slots, so it's not going to be amazing, but it'll be alright. And that's an 80 gig hard drive, because that's what I had. A little bit short on parts lately. Okay, so the most important thing is hook up the Eff panel. You can see it says Eff panel. You can look up the motherboard manual for like step-by-step on how to do this. But this is the front power light, the front LEDs for the hard drive activity, then the reset switch and the power switch. You only really need the power switch, and you can actually see they're labeled really small right there. Otherwise, a page in the manual will show you how to do it. Otherwise, just look it up. It's universal. The power switch is... Oh, watch, I'm going to get it wrong. The power switch is always on the top. Oh, this is actually, this is a completely different header than normal. Okay, well, board's a little older than I thought, but you don't need front USB, you don't need front audio, because this is a Bitcoin miner or whatever. But it's pretty easy to attach the heatsink. I mean, I'm not going to show that off, mostly because I don't want to take it back off. Also, before you drop in the motherboard, you're going to want to put on the I/O plate, unless you don't have one, so that's a little plate that goes right here. The most important thing, and this is what people screw up a lot, is use the standoffs, and by standoffs I mean these little brass standoffs right here. You can unscrew them to the left and screw them in to the right, and then they're socketed. Use the correct screws, coarse or fine threaded, and use all of them. So you can see there's one there, nice little screw there, one there, and one there. So it's a standard micro ATX 6 mount. Now some micros will be this wide, and honestly you're probably going to use a full ATX because it has more slots, and that's where that one comes into play. So usually it'll be, like, the biggest you can get is 3, 3, 3, and a lot of them are 2, 2, and then offset. This one's actually kind of weird the way it mounts. But don't just bolt it to the chassis. It won't line up, and the graphics card won't mount, and it's just a nightmare. You'll short out the board. It's just, yeah, use the standoffs. So next we need to install the power supply, which goes right there. Alright, here we have the power supply that I chose. It's 850 BQ from EVGA. It's semi-modular, which means that you can hook these up separate, which is really nice for cable management. It doesn't really matter. It's got a big honking silent 140 right there. I don't really need 850 watts, but this has, I believe, 6 headers for graphics cards, or 4 or something like that. Whatever it was enough for this build. And at 135 watts a card, I'm going way over. But this is, I believe, single rail, which is very, very, very important. You definitely want to buy a single rail power supply, and it'll actually say right here. You can see, well, I'm getting into hardware choice, which I don't want to get into. Oh, it won't focus, but it says 12 volt, 70 amps. There it is. Multiply it. What is that? 840. Wow. Seems unrealistic with the 850 watt, but it is what it is. So if it says 12V1, 12V2, that's a 2-rail, and if you hook it up wrong, you'll blow it up or melt it or light it on fire. So just get 1 rail. Real simple. So this mounts, of course, right there. And sorry, I forgot my tripod, otherwise I'd show you how to do it. So we're just going to use the magic of editing. Alright, got it screwed in. You can see it holds in with 4 screws on the corner. Should line up. And also make sure the fan side is down. Now, if you get a different case, well, honestly, if you're going to get a case, don't get a case. Just, I mean, look at how small this board is. You could just put card, and just leave them out on a table, put them on a plank of wood or something, but we just had this case. So yeah, some cases, though, will have a bottom-mounted power supply, so then you would want the fan either blowing through the filter on the bottom or through the top. Either way, because remember, this is laying flat, and it's not supposed to be. It's a full ATX. It's supposed to be upright. So now, I'll show you how to hook this up. You got your 20 plus 4 right here. Make sure that the plus 4... Oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this one-handed. Oh, maybe. Make sure the plus 4 is attached, and then just hook it up right there on the 24 pin, which is almost always on the right side of the motherboard here. And just make sure you get the directions correct. It should be... Whoops. This direction. I really wish I would have remembered my camera stand. Okay, magic of editing. Oh boy, look how fast and easy that was. Now we've got the CPU, which is usually a 4-4 split right here, and this socket, which is on just a different location on the board, typically in the top left. Clip in, mind the directions. Oh, I'm not going to do this with the magic of editing. I'm going to do it with the magic of my fingers. There we go. And just, give it a tug, make sure it's clicked, make sure that the retention clips are closed. There we go. And make sure everything gets out of the way of the fan, including the fan hookup itself. So, the CPU heatsink, I mean, you can look up how to install that. It's so easy. And then just hook it up to whatever fan says CPU, which that one is labeled CPU on the board. And there you go. So you got CPU in, and then you got the RAM in. I mean, everybody knows how to install RAM. You just pull the clips outward, and stick the stick of RAM straight down. Ta-da! And one stick of RAM will save a little bit of watts, but you're talking about 1.5 watts per stick. Not a big deal. So now it's basically all set to be fired up. So you got two options. You could throw in the cards and then install Windows, or you could install Windows and then throw in the cards. This has onboard. Got HDMI hooked up right now to the board, so I'm just going to install Windows first. Oh yeah, I should probably tell you guys how to do that. So we've got the flash drive with Windows 10 on it. There we go. Plug this in. Preferably into the USB 3.0 spot if you have one, because that'll load way faster. Also, make sure that you actually run power to the hard drive. That might be a good idea. I gotta add the modular cable that goes from there to the hard drive. Now, you can load it onto a flash drive, but then you need a flash drive. Has to be, I believe, 8 gigs minimum, because it's 4.7 for the image. I might be wrong about that. And then if you burn a DVD of it, you have to have a DVD drive and then a second SATA cable and, whatever. So either way, you're going to have to drop like a tenner on whatever. Now, how you do this is don't just go torrent some illegal cracked version. It probably has viruses embedded in it, and it's illegal, and you don't need it. Go to, well, just Google Windows 10 Media Creation Tool, and then just download the Media Creation Tool. Tell it that you need to download Windows 10, just the 64-bit edition, and tell it that you don't have a specific license you want to plug in, but that you do need, I don't know, like the multi-version or something. I mean, honestly, you just need to install Home Edition. Pro doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter at all, because we're not giving it a key. So you're just going to run it in like free trial mode for 30 days, and then just keep running it. It'll just whine about activating, and that's it. It's not like Vista where it locks you out and logs you back out until you give it a key. You can run it in free trial mode forever. It just disables a ton of features which are horribly unimportant to a Bitcoin miner. So you could basically just download Windows 10 for free from Microsoft's website and just use it. So you can say, okay, mount it to a flash drive, and it'll just do it. It'll use the Media Creation Tool, like bootable drive loader. If you say DVD, you basically have to select ISO, and then you have to use an ISO burner, like IMG burn. It's image burn, all one word. That's an okay one. I don't know, like Starburn contains viruses and crap. I can't think of many out there. I mean, whatever, but you guys know how to burn an image, hopefully. I would just get a flash drive. It's a lot easier. If you're ordering parts anyway, just spend $5 on a flash drive. Okay, I only use the highest quality graphics in this video. This is what the Eff Panel hookup should look like. It's a row of 4, row of 5, and then there's a pin missing right there. These two will be power. Now, some OEM systems are different, and some older systems, honestly like this one, this has a completely different header, it's much wider. They'll just be labeled, or you can just look in the motherboard manual, or you could just try 2 at a time until some turn it on. So, if you aren't using a case, you're like, okay, I don't have a button, just take a paper clip, or a knife, or whatever, and just short out those two, and that'll turn it on. Real simple. And this is reset, this is power LED positive side out, and this is hard drive LED positive side out. So these are the 2 positive pins right here. Alright, let's try booting it. Don't need this. Yep, saw that coming. Okay, what did I screw up? Let's see. I know I got those working. Oh, of course. This does not stand for on, it's the electric symbol for brake circuit. There we go. And you might want to give it 3 seconds while it charges all the caps, and then turn it on. Oh, and don't get cables in the fan. Could have sworn I just said that in an earlier take. There we go. I mean, I'm going to tidy it up with wire ties, but here we go. Should have something on my garbage VR. Now, honestly, if the hard drive's blank and I just put in a flash drive, it'll just boot, and this is the Windows installer, but oh boy, here we go. On a Dell motherboard, it would be Wayland F12. That'll get you the boot menu. Let's see, F11 on MSI and Asus and ASRock, if I recall. Either way, it's like the temporary boot menu. If it's a brand new out of the box motherboard, then it'll actually pop up a thing saying new CPU, new memory, or whatever, and you just press F1 to enter setup, or F1 to skip F2 to enter setup. Yeah, hit F2. Now, if it's an EFI OEM computer, which if you know what that means, then good for you. You probably already know how to get around this. It's a nightmare. Sometimes it's Shift F2, Shift F8, I mean, all this other nonsense, but honestly, if it's a Blake hard drive, it should eventually fail over to the only bootable device, which is the flash drive. So, here we go. Oh boy, sorry for the shaky Blair Witch camera here. Here we go. Hit next. Actually, I probably should have shown what that was. It was like, yeah, Windows, English, whatever. So you hit install now. Setup is starting, and this is going to be really slow. I mean, it's actually a G3258. I know you guys are going to give me crap for this. Oh, here, hit I don't have a product key. Ta-da. That's how you give it. And so it says, what do you want to install? Windows 10 S and home, whatever. You just want to go just home. In case I ever want to activate it, I'm more likely to have a Pro key, so I'll just go Windows 10 Pro, but not N, not education, not single language, nothing, just, there we go. So hit next. And there we go. I accept the terms, next. Custom, you always want to hit custom because it's not an upgrade, it's not an in-place upgrade, so you hit custom, and then you see drive 0, unallocated space, 80 gigs, except not really. And you just want to hit next to target the unallocated space. You do not want to hit new to create a partition. You just want to hit next. So opposite of XP. Now what this will do is create a 500 megabyte bootloader partition. I think, boy, this version is actually different than the first one of 10. It creates a couple partitions. I think it's 100 megs of system reserved or something, but you want to let the installer manage it itself. So now it'll decompress Windows. Like I said, 4 gigs of RAM is a bit to install Windows. It shouldn't be a bottleneck. The chip is a 3258 overclockable Anniversary Edition Pentium, which I am obviously going to take out and probably swap for a Celeron. And, yeah, I mean, you can see it's kind of cruising. That 80 gig hard drive is going to be the bottleneck to end all bottlenecks. The thing runs at about 50 megs a second linear and probably 0.2 scattered, so it's slow. Needless to say, that is slow. So I'll get back with you guys in about 10 minutes when this loads. I lied. While it's installing, we're actually going to do something productive. We're going to take this here chunk of wood. Oh, whoops, sorry, hold on. There we go. And set up the risers. These little buggers. I like this model. You can find them all over. You usually got to wait to get them from Hong Kong, but there's a seller in New Jersey that has these. So let me just unbox this real quick. Alright, got it placed. That's the rest of the accessories, but really you just want to drill these holes so that it holds. And just 1, 2 left, right should be fine. I mean, it's not going to have too much back pressure. So yeah, these are a little bit over it, but you just want to take a drill and drill through those two. And as funny as it would be to try to watch me drill this one-handed on camera while holding a well, camera, I think we'll just use the magic of editing again. Oh my god, I forgot the most important step. Make sure that you get something to catch the wood shaving. So make sure you get your I carry a gun because a cop is too heavy shirt and put that under it. Alright, look at that, not coming off, pretty solid job, and you can see for the second one I've swapped it out with Lady Liberty holding an AR. If you try and use a liberal shirt, it actually won't work, you gotta use a conservative shirt. I don't know why, they just won't mount correctly. Alright, got the second one on there, you can see you want to equally space them, so the third one's going right there, and obviously it goes without saying, I have swapped out the shirt for the third one. Okay, beautiful job, they're all mounted, nice and evenly spaced. You'll probably have 4 if you got a proper system, but I work with what I get. I'm building another one. Well, my other one has like 13 slots, so this USB 3.0 goes right here, right there, and the other end goes into one of these, which goes into the actual PCI Express slot. So I'll show you that later, but the right side here is a Molex power connector. Can probably flip that up and show you here. Looks like that. Wow, that's bad lighting in here. So if you don't have a Molex connector on your power supply, that'd be kind of weird. Or I should say if you don't have 3 of them, because you're going to need 3. The kit that I got comes with a SATA, I am really close to those SATA 2 Molex connectors. So that's Molex right there. Those are the 4 pins. So make sure you, hook those up, otherwise it won't work. So now, with the old spec PCI Express 2, you had to be able to run 75 watts through 1. Which is where that comes from. But with the new spec, it's 110. It's just most cards don't want to do that because it's like really taxing to the motherboard. So it all just runs through that hookup. I would assume these are rated for 110. I'm not sure. I've had a couple explode, though. These caps like to explode, even though they're polymer caps. And that VRM right there, voltage regulation module, runs the most. So, here's the thing. If you have a 6-pin hookup on your graphics card, that is 75 watts max. And if you have an 8-pin, that's 125 watts max. So if you have a 135 watt card, we'll say, because that's approximately what an RX 570 pulls, then you're going to plug it in, and it has a single 6-pin, so 75 is going to come from there, and the remainder is going to come through here. So if you could choose any card, and they're all the same price, and they're all the same brand, which obviously is never the case, you'll want to get the one that has the most connectors. The problem is, if you're like my other rig, where it was 4 RX 580s in a row, they had 8-pin, 6-pin, 8-pin, 6-pin, 8-pin, 6-pin. It's a little bit harder to find power supplies like that, but if you go on Newegg and just say, I need bare minimum 6 PCI Expresses, they will find you that. Otherwise, there's adapters, but you want to use the least amount of adapters possible, because they're never the wire gauge that they're spec'd for, and they will melt and light on fire. So, yeah. So, are we still installing? Oh, it's still doing the first time boot. Wow, slow computer. Well, let's go configure this. Alright, so we've got the chunk of wood here. Ideally, it would be the correct length to actually reach across the case, since that and that side are level, but we're just gonna put it right here and just kind of deal with it. Alright, so whichever one you want to be the card that hooks up to the monitor, hook that PCI Express lead up to the X16 slot, which is the wide one right there. The 1X channels, or secondary 16X channels, which are actually 8X channels if you look at the number of contacts, those will not be the primary graphics output. So you want to put them exactly, I think, is it this? No, it's this direction. So I'm probably not going to make it the middle card. I'll probably make it this one. This makes sense because that's the closest to my garbage TV. Whoop, there we go. I don't want to short out anything. Preferably you do this while it's not running, but without power to the riser, you can plug these in anytime. It's not a big deal. So you just plug these in nice and firm right there. There we go. And then number 2, it's nice to do these in order, but it doesn't really matter. Put the second one in. There we go. Make sure it's all the way in. You can't see any gold. Make sure they're level. And see, this one goes right there. Perfect. So they're all right there, and you can cable manage this mess however you want later. Oh boy, I love setting up windows. Alright, so choose United States if that's you, or Uganda if you just want to have some fun, because Uganda be making some bitcoins. Ayo. So you hit next, just a moment, and yes, US keyboard. Do I want to add a second one? No, just hit skip. There we go. Let's connect to a network. Let's not. Hit skip for now. I purposely didn't connect it to a network or it's going to whine about offline account. So I'm going to name this user account miner. There we go. You can just name it owner, user, miner, whatever. I wouldn't name it your name. I mean, why? Create a super memorable password. No thanks. If you put a password, it won't auto log in. So if you lose power, it won't auto log in, so don't assign a password. Make Cortana your personal assistant. No, that'll be one of the services I disable anyway. And then privacy settings, off, 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 off. And if you're using an older installer like 1511, just pretend I said off 22 more times. Alright, accept. Just a moment. And this is where it gets weird. Hi! Hi. We're getting everything ready for you. Okay, this is literally like 5 minutes. I'll just cut the camera. Let's start! Oh boy! Woo! Yay! So you can see it's overscanning on the HDMI because this TV is an absolute potato, so that'll be fun. But first thing I'm going to do is just install TeamViewer so that I can do this remotely and then get a screen recorder, because I'm too lazy to put a screen recorder on this, and you guys saw the capacity of the hard drive. Alright, we're back on my actual computer with a much nicer mic. As you can see, it's just sitting here installing OneDrive without asking me. Once you install Windows 10, it's going to do a whole bunch of stuff. Like if I click on the Start menu, we have got a ton of apps that are pending. Oh my god, this thing's slow. You can see it's using up almost none of the CPU, almost none of the memory, but 100% disk, because this disk is slow as balls. Look at that, it's installing an Xbox thing. It's apparently something crashed. Oh god, Windows 10 is just such a nightmare. But basically, just leave Windows 10 running for about 10 to 15 minutes so it can just install all this crap and just get done, and then reboot it. So, let's just go do that right now. We're going to right click on the desktop, go to personalize, and sorry about the slowness of this computer, but it's plenty fast in mining Bitcoins. Yeah, you need to activate Windows, piss off. No, you don't. Scroll down and go to, oh wait, it's under themes. Whoops. Scroll down, go to desktop icon settings. There you go. And then turn on my computer, users, files, control panel. There we go. So now we've got the normal icons on the desktop here. And you want to right click on this PC and go to manage. Any day now. There we go. It's adding the snap-in console. And you want to go to services and then click on services, of course. And go down to Superfetch. Not going to explain what it does. Just trust me, you don't need it. It's going to slow down your boot time immensely. So change it from automatic to disabled. After double clicking on it, hit apply, then hit stop, and it will terminate it. And then there we go. Basically, it makes Windows load faster by loading memory into memory early. That's commonly used, which is totally going to do nothing for a Bitcoin miner. Also, go to the control panel and change it from category view to large icon view because categories are terrible. Then go to power options and go to balanced and tell it to turn off the display never and to go to sleep never and hit save changes. Then you could even hit choose what the power buttons do and make sure that it says when the power button or when I hit the power button shut down. When I press the sleep button, which most computers don't have, I mean do nothing just in case it thinks I hit it. Okay, what you want to do is click on the start menu, which is still downloading these god-awful apps, and type regedit, and then well, you don't really need to right-click and run as administrator. It'll prompt you for the UAC anyway. There we go. And let's see, where is this? You go to HKey local machine, expand that one. Let's give ourselves some room here. And then you go to software and expand that one. And then policies and expand that one. And then Microsoft, of course. And then Windows Defender. And you can see it doesn't have any values. Suspicious, isn't it? So you right click and hit new and then D-word 32-bit value. And then name it with, and it is case sensitive, I believe, disable anti-spyware. That is what you call it. So the D, the A, and the S are capital. I'm fairly certain it is case sensitive. So then you double click on it and change it to 1 so that it's true, because in binary that's true false is 1 0. And that's it. There you go. So now Windows Defender is turned off, so it won't start flagging stuff. It won't run a scan every time you log in. It's just you don't need Windows Defender. It's terrible for Bitcoin miners. So next up, we're going to open up Microsoft Edge and type get Chrome to go get Chrome because Edge is the worst thing ever. Here we go. Edge just can't draw anything related to Bitcoins. Its smart scanner is ridiculous. It's just the worst browser I've ever seen in my entire life, although Safari gives it a run for its money. Here we go. Oh, speaking of security pop-ups, while it's doing this, what is with the cutesy loading sayings? Windows does that too now. Okay, piss off. Go back to the control panel and go to user accounts, and then you can see I named it miners. So you hit change user account control settings, and then turn it down to nothing, and then OK. Ironically, it pops up a UAC prompt to disable the UAC prompts, and there you go. There's one more security step they have to do to bypass something, but I'll get to that later. So here we go. Chrome is now almost installed. There it is. I'm sure they'll open it for us. Yep, there we go. If you really want to be slick, you'll put an ad blocker extension in, but I mean, it's not like you're going to be surfing the web on this all the time. So now you want to type in, it's like Amd Mining Driver, something like that. Here it is. This is the page you want. Assuming you're running AMD cards. I should have thrown that in there. If you're running NVIDIA, just download the latest NVIDIA driver. So that would be, let me just open a new tab. It's nvidia.com. God, look how much faster this is. And click on drivers, GeForce drivers. And as long as your card was made in the last 5 years, just hit search. It really doesn't matter. Although hitting Windows 10 64-bit would be nice. The latest one right now for December 20th, which is weird because it's January 1st, is 388.71. Very rarely do you have a problem with the latest driver, so I would just download this one and install that. But since we're running AMD, instead of getting the normal AMD driver, we have to go get the Well, Radeon Software Crimson Relive Edition beta, because they're going to admit it doesn't work amazingly, for blockchain compute, which, okay, this is legit 30 to 40% faster. I am not kidding. You will make 30 to 40% more money by using this driver than a normal gaming driver, so get it. So you scroll down, this is the Windows 10 64-bit edition. There we go. It's really big. Let's play. How fast is Des's internet? Oh, wait, that's right. Okay, if you hit Control J. Wait, that was supposed to... Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, that's slow, actually. I have 100 megs here, but you don't usually get it in the winter in Wisconsin because it's really cold. All right, we're back. So this is a very particular thing. First, you want to pull the Ethernet cord or disconnect the wireless adapter or whatever you're using, because we cannot have it connected to the internet for when we boot it back up. You'll see why. Unless I forget to say why, then you won't. But alright, we got an XFX RX 570, not my first choice, but well, the entire world's sold out of these right now, so gotta do what you gotta do. So before you drop it in, which obviously this will be the display one because it's on X16, so I got the HDMI uncovered right there, and that'll go to the monitor. But before I plop this in, well, first of all, I should probably turn it the right direction, and also I gotta put some power to that Molex, so let's do that. Alright, got the connectors connected to the power supply for the modular little feature there. Got Molex all plugged in, and I've got the 6 pins ready. So what you want to do is pull these retention clips down. Oops, they might already be. Nope. There we go. Get all 3 of them. Oh, that one's already down. All right. I'll get this to sit a little better. Oh boy, might have to find something to level that. But for now, whoops, take all the plastic off the card. You missed a spot there. Don't want to forget that if you don't want to light it on fire. And the back of the card, that little hook right there, goes right under the retention clip. So, whoops, this is going to go just like that. So you want to get it square in there, and then slide the retention clip forward to lock it in. There we go, and it's going to lean a little bit. That is what it is. So we got an 8-pin right there. Every single one runs an 8-pin. So let me grab the first one here, and you can see it's got 6 only, and then down the line, 6-8 mix. So you're going to want to use this one. Alright, we got the 8-pin power. We're not using the 6 at the moment, and I have connected the HDMI cable right there to the television. So now, just hook up the other 2 cards the same way. Oh boy, look at this work of art. I know, those sticking up in the middle of the air 6 pins are just the best thing I've ever seen. But yeah, make sure that these are still level, because you know, you're moving around the cards and stuff. Make sure that these are still in that first one was a little loose, and in. And like I said, you can untangle this all if you want. Honestly, the airflow between these is pretty good. And I'm probably going to put a 12 centimeter, 120 millimeter fan there and there, just to take air and blow downward to feed the cards, because they exhaust left and they exhaust right. So if I were to blow across them, it might blow the hot exhaust air back into the fan. So I found that just setting it there with some VHP tape or double-sided tape or rubber feet or whatever, just to hold it there, big old fan right there goes a long way. Plus, you probably got spare, you know, Molex to fan conversion points here. So let's turn it on, see what happens. Oop. Make sure you can still read or reach the power. Oh, cool! They got 8-pin indicator LEDs. Well, 2 of them do. The hell? Is that one like not receiving power? That's really weird. Is it posting? Oh, it's not. Time to troubleshoot. Alright, got him now. I didn't follow my own advice, but it's a good example to tell you guys. Make sure that the card is still actually inserted in the slot. You probably can't see it, but you know, push down on the front, push down on the back, or push down on the whole thing and make sure it's still seated, because this one was hopped up, and the front, I guess, well, the back of, no, that is the front of the card's the front, was out of the socket, so that's not good. Somehow it's still not posting, though, because I think the BIOS got deeply confused about, you know, which one to turn on, because there's 3 and all that. I still got no signal here, so I'm going to reconfigure that. You only have to mess with this if your BIOS is dumb as hell, so I'm not even going to go through it. Okay, this is the first time I've ever seen a motherboard be able to do this. Very strange, but I unplugged the HDMI, plugged it back into the onboard, and we've got signal with 3 graphics cards here. I'd prefer not to draw the system, like everything, like just to draw windows here and run, refreshes every 60 seconds, which is not exactly what it does. You don't want to be using part of the resources of card number 1, so I'm actually glad it's able to do that, so might as well test. Otherwise, you gotta hop into the BIOS, which means basically just disconnect the 3 cards from the PCI Express so it doesn't know that they're there, and then just wail on like delete or F2 or whatever your enter the BIOS key is, and then tell it, a primary video adapter PCI based or PCIe, or it's different per BIOS. There's not really a standard phrasing, but you can see we're back here, so I'm delighted that it's using the crappy onboard GPU, which is actually inside the CPU. It's the Intel graphics chip in there, so I'm just going to leave it that way. But yeah, that's basically the gist of how you reconfigure your BIOS. So let's jump back to the... Oh wait, I can't go on TeamViewer because I killed the network. Okay, this is super important. You have to, when you boot up the first time... Yeah, I know you can't connect. There's no internet. The first time you connect, make sure you are not connected to the internet. You need to have no internet connection when your cards are on, because otherwise it will go to Windows Update, say, oh, I know what those cards are, and start installing them very slowly and very silently, and then you'll get the gaming version of the driver, not to mention an out-of-date one, and when you try to run this mining driver, it will just cause so many problems. I mean, blue screening, not mining at the correct speeds, just everything. And I've learned that once you get the normal version of the drivers installed, you cannot unregister them and cannot undelete them fully to the point where installing this mining driver would actually work. So this has to be the first one that you grab. So keep that in mind. So we're going to run this. It's basically just like big old decompress next, and then tell it not to install ReadLive, and that's it. Real exciting. Oh god, I forgot how slow this computer is. How much you want to bet it's doing some stupid background task, although not a Windows Defender scan and not Superfetch. Okay, it's lagging so much that it can't open Task Manager. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, look at that. It's doing like nothing, and it's like 100% of the disk. Okay, so just install to the default location. That's actually not the install location. That's a decompression, but you can see it's dumping off all the files and stuff. Sorry about the shaky camera work. Alright, it's finally done decompressing, and you know I sped that up in the editor. There we go, you hit accept and install. It's detecting the hardware. Oh, by the way, if you have NVIDIA, this takes forever. I mean, on a fast system, we're talking 3 minutes per card. If you got 8 cards attached, oh. I usually just do the express install. I mean, I hate doing express install on anything, but this one, it does install it the correct way, so just wait for this to get done. Now, if you want to know when it's actually done, like besides this, because it has to load 3 cards, you right-click on my computer, go to Properties. Wow, this computer's hard drive is slow. Oh my god, if right-clicking takes 30 minutes, your computer's a little bit too slow. Well, it's also kind of occupied doing this. Here we go. Properties. I knew I should have used like a 320 that was made this century. But cheap is cheap. You only got to deal with the slowness of the computer for like 1 hour while you set it up. Alright, then you go to Device Manager. Open that. Yeah, I know there's 10 different ways to open Device Manager. Pick your preferred method. And under Display Adapters, when it finally loads it, just watch for it to get done installing these. So you can see it's got the Intel HD, and then it's got just a basic display adapter driver. It's probably in the middle of loading the 3rd one. I'm pretty sure it sees all of them. I'm not 100% sure, though. We'll find out. And so as soon as those go away, then it's done loading them. And it should say RX 570 and then 3 entries. So we'll see. Okay, 10 minutes later, I'm still confused, but I think I actually have either a bad USB cable or a bad riser right out of the box. But 1 in 10 are bad. It is what it is. I just can't get it to recognize more than one, but I figured I'd show you guys in the BIOS. Yes, it's still cut off because the TV's a potato. Initial display output under peripherals. You want to change it from IGFX, which is Intel graphics, to PCI Express 1 slot. There we go. And then I can switch my HDMI back to that card, which actually might make a slight difference. But, yeah, one of those cards didn't look so good, so I'm going to swap it out. Oh, not the card, well, you'll see what I mean. Oh, would you look at that, 3570s. I reseated all the cables. It wasn't a bad riser. It was just me being a clumsy ape and knocking one of the USBs a little bit loose. So make sure all your cables are tight. If something isn't right, something's not showing up, first of all, you could just keep following the steps, set up mining, and then find out which card is cold to the touch. That's the one with the problem. Or just reseat all the cables. That would be pretty easy. And of course now I'm bleeding because that was fun. Very sharp, jagged edges. So it's a typical install so far. So let's jump back to, reconnect it to the internet and then jump back to TeamViewer. All right, here we go. We are back in TeamViewer. So honestly done first. Very important. Right click on computer, or my computer if you're old school like me. Go to properties and then system protection. And then, it's actually under, whoops, I lied. It's under advanced system settings. It's all the same crap. It's the same thing. But anyway, you go to the advanced tab here and then performance, go to settings and just do adjust for best performance, which turns off every single animation, fader, arrow effect, everything. Hit apply, make sure it's good, then hit OK. And then the much more important part, let's see, where is this? It's, okay, settings and then advanced and then virtual memory change. So then uncheck automatically manage page file and then go to custom size, and I just put in 17,000. I forget what the actual limit is. I know it has to be above 16,000, I think it is, but you're not using the space on the hard drive for anything, and it actually doesn't use the 17 gigs that you're typing in right now. So you hit set, there we go, 17 to 17, manual, and then hit OK. I don't think, actually no, if you make it bigger, it will take effect immediately. If you make it smaller, you have to reboot. So it should be 17 gigs right now. Now, certain mining programs just want to know that when they're addressing that much RAM that it is there, even though it's like VRAM swap space, it just needs to know that the swap space is there. It won't actually use it. I don't really know any way to explain that makes sense, because it doesn't. All right, so now, let's see. I think we're done with operating system mods, pretty sure. But let's open Nicehash here. And let's say we're 75% of the way done, so, you know. Takes a while to build these, but, you know, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. But is it actually launching? There we go. God, this thing is just so slow, and it's all the hard drive. Like, the chip and the RAM are actually above average. It's the hard drive. This thing is just tragic. Okay, let's go to San Jose. Oh, let me go grab my mining address. Okay, there we go. Got to paste it in, and I'm going to call it home 2, because it's my second home worker. So that's just how you check it. Like, if I hit check my stats online, I should have made Chrome the default browser. Whoops. Just look up how to do that. It's not that hard. Actually, Edge takes so damn long to open a simple web page. We're just going to go do it manually while it's opening. How about that? All right. Click on the little gear. This is sad. Edge is such a flaming dumpster fire disaster. Oh, look, it actually loaded. Anyway, we're going to do it anyway. Go to apps and then default apps. Oh, you're going to love this. Are you sure? Before you switch, you should try Edge. No, I'm done trying Edge. Piss off, Edge. Switch anyway. There we go. All right, so, yeah, we're making, $1,617 per month, $53.92 per day, and we got a little spike here, $64 a day. Must have solved some good stuff. So you can see we got the workers. It's a 3x 1060, 4x 1060, second worker because it was just using Blake 2S, or it switched recently. Oh, yeah, time minutes 0, so it just switched to that, so this one's no longer live. So some of them, and also dual mining. If you're running like Dagger Pascal, it's going to show up as 2 workers because it's 2 algorithms. I mean, that's just how it works. So we got my 990FX, which I nicknamed after the chipset on the board. I know, very consistent naming. This one's called 13 because it has 13 PCI Express ports. And then this one's Home, which is the one you've heard humming in all the videos so far. So that's all mine. The speeds are running at their estimates. And look at that, I get paid about once per day, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's about $50 a day, a little bit over it. And this is going to take it much above there, and I've got one to build after this too. So that's the stats. Oh, also you might want to like bookmark it. Oh, now that I click it, it's going to open in Chrome. Hallelujah. Watch how much faster this is. I mean, the computer's still a potato, but still, this is going to be faster. There we go. Done. I mean, it's a joke how bad Edge is. It's just the worst. Okay, so here's their like ghetto way to make a shortcut. There we go. Cool. And then I usually just do NH stats. There we go. All right, so what you want to do is hit benchmark, turn off card 2, turn off card 3, go to card 1. Turn off, we'll just right click and hit disable all algorithms, and then just like pick one. Let's see, it's RX 570. Let's do, oh boy, honestly, at this point, Dagger Pascal, and then just run real quick. All right, so we're running one card, one algorithm. So while it's running, because it's gonna take about 60 seconds, I'm gonna explain why Nicehash does it this way. And if you're not using Nicehash, feel free to skip this. I mean, you can just download literally like the Dagger Saya dual miner, which is what I did when Nicehash was offline, and just mine that. Now the thing about Nicehash is it will say, here's your bitcoins per day that you'll make. Also, you get paid in bitcoins no matter what you're mining, so there's that. And like this is the rate, like based on current prices, or let's see, wait, bitcoins per gigahash per day. Yeah, that's based on current prices. So then it'll fill in your speed once it's done testing, and it'll say, oh, if you were to be running Dagger Pascal, it will make you X amount of bitcoins per day. And then if you test this one, test this one, test this one, test this one, and Kryptonite that uses honestly, I think the currency is called Kryptonite. Then we got, what else? We got Equihash that uses Zcash. We got Skunk, which uses, I want to call it Skunk Coins, but that's not what it is. It's like S something, I don't remember, but they all use their own different currencies. I heard Kekek is pretty good. Actually, I was going to say, I'm surprised that Lyra 2 Rev 2 isn't on here, but that's NVIDIA only, so never mind. But yeah, I mean, ones that are grayed out, they just know that they're not good for your card, or they're like old legacy ones, like this one that literally says old. So they want to test every single card, even if they're identical, because sometimes you'd be surprised they're not as identical as you think, even though that you bought them at the same time from the same vendor, might have different RAM on board. And they'll just auto switch every, I think, 5 minutes. It'll switch to the most profitable algorithm and then pay you accordingly. So mine have been switching all day. I mean, you will legitimately make like 10 to 20 to 30% more in Nicehash than you would by solo mining. Or God, solo mining is a different term. Mining one single currency and that's it. And their fees are about the same as any pool. There we go. All benchmarks have been completed successfully. So you can see I can get 15.3 mega hashes with about half of a terahash on Pascal. So that's actually slow for Dagger because it's an Ethereum miner. It's probably closer to like 28. But when you're dual mining, it's kind of like hyper-threading. I don't really care to explain it. But you're just mining two currencies at once. So it's saying you'll make almost 2 1,000ths of a Bitcoin per day. So if I were to hit start, oh wait, no, I gotta close and then hit start. It'll start mining just that one, and that's it. So this is how you just make sure that at a basic level, everything's good with your router, your firewall, your connection, everything. Yay, you can mine. Your wallet is legit. Your account at Nicehash is legit. And there you go. It's already mining at 0 megahashes per second. Hold on. Oh, yeah, why would it report that? It didn't load the DAG yet. So the DAG is like a whole bunch of data based on the blockchain that has to be loaded into memory. If you're real curious, look it up. But basically, do not buy a card with 3 gigs or less right now, because in April, you're going to have a problem with it, in that it won't mine at all. Not on these algorithms, I should say. Oh, look at that. It says temperature 61 Celsius, fan 45%, or 44%. I can read. Reading is hard. So now you go back to Nicehash, and ta-da, making $2.64 per day on that one card on that one algorithm. So let's hit stop, and then close it to save it. Now the other thing is, right-click on the desktop, go to AMD Radeon settings, and go to gaming, go to global settings, and here we go. Go to the first one labeled Wattman, not graphics. Oh yeah, I accept. I'm going to blow myself up. Got it. Okay, here we go. So scroll down to the memory frequency. Unless you're going just Kryptonite, then you might want to go to the core. And this is an RX 570. I'm going to start them at 2000 megahertz. Actually, I'm probably going to leave them there. Apply, because I know that they can get about that without a voltage boost. So 1750 is the stock speed for memory interface. And almost every card I've ever seen can do 2000. Very few can go a lot higher than that. Even my Sapphire Nitro Plus Pros, or whatever they're called, they have trouble with even like 2050. Oh boy, I wish they'd just let me just click there and type the number. These sliders are just idiotic. Here we go. So you want to do all 3 cards, because remember, the benchmark is like how fast is it right now. Now, CryptoNight and certain other algorithms use the core a lot more, and on any kind of Equihash or get my names mixed up. Ethereum mining, the bottleneck is the speed at which it can fetch data from the RAM. So this is very important for Equihash. So now, reopen Nicehash. And go back to benchmark, make sure only card number 1 is turned on. Click on the one you just did and clear algorithm speed. There we go, it'll erase the results. And then I'm going to turn on, let's see, I might as well do CAC. That one, honestly, that one kind of has problems. I'll try it later. Nothing against them. All right, turn on all those. Dagger Libri. Decred by itself is not usually good because it's like, when would that ever be better than Dagger with Decred? But might as well test it. CryptoNight. Claymore, I think SG Miner is almost always faster. Libri Solo, I can't imagine that would be profitable, but you never know. I mean, I can't predict 6 months in the future, and if it becomes profitable, like crazy, I'd want it turned on. So Equihash, which is, this is an AMD card, there's no way it's switching to Equihash. Let's see, I think Optiminer is usually turned off, but I don't remember. Probably should have paid more attention. You can always look at the card under it. Let's see. Oops, come on. Oh, you gotta turn it on. They had Claymore and Claymore Old turned off, so they must not be terribly compatible with this card. Don't want to have problems, so let's turn that off. There we go. Alright, and I mean, there we go. I'm not a big fan of Ghost. I think they're making a ASIC for that. So now you want to keep it on standard or precise would be even better. I know these cards kick up pretty quick, so I think standard will be fine. I think this is 60 seconds, a minute and a half, and 2 minutes here for precise. So you got 13 to benchmark, so I would just start with one card and just hit start. And you could even use like the defaults that they want. You could like switch to the second card and test that. So hopefully the second I hit start, it doesn't like blue screen. Oh, it didn't. Okay, so it can support those memory speeds. Cool. So you just let it run. I mean, it's going to take bare minimum like 13 minutes, I think. I think that's how it works. So I'll come back when we get the results. I forgot these cards are made by XFX instead of a respectable company, so they cannot run at 2000 megahertz. Let's try 1900. I got them all reset. Oh, and by the way, every time it blue screens in the middle of this test, you get to start all over, and it doesn't save the progress. So that's why I said fully close the program, then reopen it, because I believe that's when it saves the results. So let's try again. Also, I'm trying with a different GPU just because I thought I might have maybe turned on an unsupported one. So I'm going to use the results from this one to check the next one. All right, we're back on the miner. You can see we got a full set of results here. And this is the speed that the card tested at that particular algorithm. And then next to it is then the Bitcoins per gigahash per day based on the current price of, you know, whatever. Like for Dagger Sia, it's the price of Sia coins and the price of, I believe, Ethereum is what Dagger mines. And then those are the two speeds right there for speed. And then, you know, the end results is all you really need to know is how many Bitcoins per day will you make with this algorithm. And earlier today, the answer was, or the most profitable, the answer to that was Dagger Pascal, because Pascal hit like, I don't know, $5 per Pascal coin or something. It was like really high. Might have been 5 cents. I don't quite remember the scale. But, yeah, you know, it was, I don't know, probably 28, I think it was. What would that be? Bitcoins per day or something, whatever it is. But now it's Libri. Libri went back up, and that one's been spiking lately, too. So what this will do for Nicehash is automatically switch from Pascal to Libri. Ta-da, dual mining, and then now you're making the absolute most amount of money possible with that card. That's why you can't just say, I like Sia, I like Ethereum, let's run Dagger Sia. Actually, I think I did Claymore. Yeah, Claymore's Dagger Sia. When Nicehash was offline for 3 weeks, that's what I ran. But I was making about 30% less money on average because it wasn't auto-switching. And there are like long shot ones, which never were horribly profitable until suddenly they were, like CryptoNight. Which was honestly a lot better on AMD. It's very core based. It's based on the number of thread processors, basically, or I should say stream processors. There's a difference. But you can see this one's that's down there a little bit, but it was like way not profitable back in the day. So a lot of people are setting their cards to say, oh, just skip testing that one. It's not worth it. Same with Skunk. Others like, oh, that'll never make money, and oh, Kek, that'll never make money. Well, surprise. I mean, I keep forgetting what the actual currency of skunk is, but that one went up through the roof, and all of a sudden, all my machines switched to skunks. If I had a number in place for it. So I was going to say, just take all the ones that are really super low and then go to card 2 and card 3 and don't run them, but that's actually not really that smart. I mean, I know it takes like hours, but test pretty much every algorithm on pretty much every card, unless it's like empirically lower. Like if you look at, Pascal, it's just miserable. Or no, Saya, just running just Saya. I mean, it's just so bad. Sorry for the drop in quality. I'm recording this over TeamViewer and something strange is happening to my internet connection, even though the computer's sitting behind me. That is just not going to happen. I mean, Saya coins are at 3.2 cents right now. How high would they have to get? Like a factor of 1,000 or something for it to be profitable? So maybe I would skip the Saya test on the rest of these. I don't know how Saya dual mining is so much more profitable. I guess maybe just like Prospector is bad at it. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, you can test the rest of the cards. And the other thing is I had to turn off Dagger Hashimoto SG Miner because it literally won't work. It just doesn't work. You try to bench it and you get like an error. Like I'll try it right now. It just says something about cannot start or failed, try precise or whatever, and it just doesn't work. But it was turned on for the other cards, so I just disabled it for the other cards. So the real reason to check one GPU and then do the rest is because you'll eliminate the problem ones. And I tend to do them one card at a time because some might be able to take whatever overclock settings you have and some might not. If the answer is might not, your whole system will lock or blue screen, reboot, and then you'll lose all your progress. So check one card, and then check all the things, okay, and then close it, which I believe is when it saves the settings. Then reopen Nicehash, and then check the next card. And yeah, it's a little bit more time consuming, but whatever. Just keep checking it throughout the day, and you'll get it set up eventually. Honestly, if you lose 2 hours worth of mining, this whole rig together, let's just take a look right now here. Let's start probably Claymore Dagger Libri, I would think. It's got to load the DAG. This is going to take a little bit. Yep, that's the algorithm it's using. If you look at how much you're going to make per day, I'd estimate this probably at $10 a day, and then you divide that by 24 hours, you're making, what, like 50 cents an hour? So if you take 3 hours to set it up, you're losing $1.50. I mean, like, whatever. People hate off time, or downtime, as they call it. Oh, it wasn't far off, 1060. But it's like, is it really that detrimental? Probably not. I mean, you got to kind of chill for a bit. Don't like stress out and don't rush stuff, because this is going to be running for months and months and months. So I want to set it up correctly the first time. So next, you might want to, mine for a while with all 3 cards, open up GPU-Z, check all the temperatures. Obviously this soon after it started, not very smart. Also, this particular algorithm has a temperature checker right there, 64 Celsius, 26% fan speed. So, whatever, kind of redundant, but 72 Celsius, 48 on this card, and you can switch cards right here. Here we go. So you could switch to the next one. Oh, all the clocks went down to 1750 because it crashed. Whoops. My bad. You can actually adjust your clock speeds on the fly, too. So that actually threw off all the benchmarks, but for NVIDIA cards, the memory speed is very heavily relied upon for all the algorithms, so it's not a big deal. So there's actually one more thing I want to do, too, by the way. Let me just hit stop for a second. Go to Settings and hit auto start mining. So the second that this program opens, it will start mining. Then hit save and close. It says settings saved. Okay, great, wonderful. So then we will, well, there's 2 ways to do it. Let's just right click on computer, go to manage. Let's see, I'm going to do 2 things at once here because I got to clock these back up to 1900 so that they can make a little bit more money. And remember, 1060 was the number, so assuming we didn't see a price drift, this will tell you what overclocking does for your income. Should hit at least 11. All right, so anyway, go to Task Scheduler, expand it, go to Task Scheduler Library. There we go. Oh, excuse me, got the hiccups today. Create new task. And you could name it, I don't know, Start NH Mining, whatever, description. You don't need any of this. I mean, when are you ever going to read it? Oh, not doing another take without the hiccups. Let's see. Run only when the user is logged in. Yes. Run with highest privileges. Yes. You may or may not need that. Trigger. New. And let's see. Not on a schedule. It's at login. There we go. Any user. No need to delay it. No need to repeat it. Nothing. Don't expire it. None of that. Action. New. Then browse. Well, it's start a program. Start a program and then browse. Go to your desktop here, and then NHML1815, and this is where the actual executable is. It's called Nicehash Miner Legacy. You can see it'll say application on the right side. So there we go. That is the program to run, nicehashminer.exe. And then no arguments, nothing, no command lines needed, because you just configured it to auto start mining. So you hit OK. Conditions, I never do idle. I uncheck this just in case it somehow forgets that it's not a laptop. Let's see. I mean, none of these are really that important. This just tends to work. Go to settings. I mean, run on demand. I don't remember exactly what that means. I usually do run task as soon as possible after a scheduled start is missed, in case it's like a login thing where it tries to run it at login, but this computer's the speed of a potato, so then it misses it. And then stop running the task if it runs longer than 3 days. Hell no. I don't think it'll actually close the program, but I just don't want it to do that. And then if the task does not end when requested, force it to stop. No, just don't. So then hit OK, and there you go. So now when the computer turns on, it will automatically launch this mining program, Nicehash, and then it will automatically start mining. There we go. So let me just real quick fix the clock speeds. We'll go 1900. Oh, I wish they'd just let me type it. There we go. Apply. This is why I love hacking the BIOSes on the cards instead, because it's a lot easier than relying on that software to not reset itself. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm running Windows updates in the background too. That's always fun. Oh, and this whole activate Windows. Oh, you need to activate Windows, and the fact that they killed my background and made it black. That is it. That's all that happens if you don't give it a key. So don't buy $100 key for Windows. That's about all I have to say about that. They did this for a reason. If it's a single-use computer, you're just going to get this little stamp right here, and it's on top of everything all the time. Who cares? Also, I mean, I should take this opportunity to mention, you can mine with like Linux. There's like bootable Linux OSs, single-purpose mining OSs, like Ethos, but they charge for it and stuff. It's like, it's cool, but then you don't get overclocking software. But it's so much simpler. You don't have to worry about stupid crap like all this nonsense running in the background. Whoops. All these tasks, all this crap from Windows. So whatever. I mean, besides Windows updates and rebooting the computer once a month because of it, is it a big deal? So yeah, I hit 1076 with that memory overclock. I feel like it could get a little higher. I'm not sure why it's that much of a difference. It honestly should have hit like 11, 12 bucks, but maybe it's got to kind of work into it. I don't know. Sometimes when you overclock it, you actually have to reboot it to get it to fully engage, or close Nicehash and reopen it. So little tip for you there. So there's one more thing we have to do, and it requires my camera. Alright, we are currently in the BIOS here. For this particular motherboard and most aftermarket ones, you gotta tap the delete key while it's turning on to go into the BIOS. For Dell it'll be F2, for HP it's F10. You can just look up your model and probably find it. Usually it's power loss or AC loss, it'll say. This one, because Gigabyte is weird, says AC back. That's fun, but it says, determine the state of the system after the power returns after AC power loss. So just in case of a power loss, you want it to, instead of stay off, always on, turn back on. So this is the weirdest phrasing I've ever seen for this setting, but it is what it is. So that means if you temporarily lose power for a second, the immediate moment that power is available to your system again, it will turn back on. So now you might see what we're doing here. Okay, let's just pretend we lost power. There we go, we're resuming power, and it should automatically log in, and then automatically start Nicehash Miner with the task, and then automatically start mining. And I'm so confident, I'm not going to film it. Also, the boot time takes forever. Oh, and there it is. Didn't quite catch it on the camera, but yeah, of course I'm going to film it. See, there you go. So that took a while because the task had to execute, and it's not exactly in high priority order, like in the registry. It's a long story. But there it is. Now you could rig this to run as a service so that you don't have to log in or whatever, but this is just simpler. So there you go. Automatically opened and started mining. So I could go rip out the power plug right over there, right now, plug it back in, and within 3 minutes I'm back up and mining with no human interaction. Very, very, very nice. So back to the computer for the couple final mods that I forgot. Yes, I know this video is a disorganized mess, but it is extensive and it is accurate. And here we are back in the digital world. There's a couple little mods that I forgot about. So you want to click on the start menu and type CMD to find the command prompt. I'm sure there's all kinds of keyboard shortcuts, whatever. Right click on the one entry, which is command prompt, run as administrator. There we go. And first of all, power config, that's POWERCFGL, one word, space, /H off, that's a /. Boom, that gets rid of the hibernation file and the entire feature of hibernation, because why the hell would we ever want to do that? And then, let's see. This one's rough. I'm probably going to put the command in the description because you're going to want to copy and paste it, but it's bcd edit /set squiggle bracket default boot status policy ignore all failures. There we go. The operation completed successfully. So that tells the computer that if it unexpectedly loses power, if it blue screens, if anything happens, do not throw it into startup repair mode. You won't even believe what fresh hell the computer will do to itself when it thinks that it's broken and it tries to fix itself. It's not exactly the Borg from Star Trek, let's just put it that way. Not quite as intelligent, and honestly, they're kind of dumb too. So this will just say, under no circumstances, record a failure and try to do something about it unless I wail on the F8 key and tell you to. I think you have to hold it, or it's Shift F8, whatever, it's Windows 10, who cares. So that is extremely important that you run that one. Alright, so I mean, that's about all you need to know. I don't think I forgot anything. Probably not. There are other Windows services and stuff you can turn off. I mean, we already killed Defender and Superfetch. Those are the two most important ones. But you can disable like Cortana and stuff, but it's like, this is going to mine at the same speed no matter what you do, unless you, I don't know, do something graphical, I guess, and I already killed all the performance mods. So, yeah, I could get, you know, some stuff that's running, you know, Cortana right there, she's using like 1% of the processor, whatever, who cares? I mean, it's like not important to Bitcoin mining, not really. All right, so you can see I dropped, what was it, about $800 on this system total, because like the whole desktop, the board, the RAM, the chip, everything cost me about $50 because it's a used computer and it's a complete potato. Power supply was, oh, actually, so I might be off a little bit. The power supply was about $70 and the cards were about $230 a piece. So $900, something like that. And it's making $10.60 per day. So it's going to pay itself off really damn quick. Now, I got a comment on this because I know I'd said I wouldn't talk about hardware choice, but I'm going to. Don't buy the fancy racks and the $200 cases and the, rack mountable servers and all that. I mean, maybe throw some fans between your cards, but other than that, I mean, you don't need these fancy setups. I mean, I've seen some of these like alleged cases and frames go for like $140. Well, it's going to take you another 14 days to pay off just that. You don't need it. I just proved you don't need it. You need a plank of wood. That's it. I mean, yeah, wood's flammable and stuff, but like, whatever. I don't think that the card's going to reach ignition temperature. It is physically impossible for it to do that. It will turn itself off at 105 Celsius. That is how the BIOS is programmed. So don't worry about cosmetics. Just make it safe. Don't let it fall over, because if one of the fan blades jams, that would be bad. It still won't light on fire, but it wouldn't be good for your hardware. So make sure it's stable. Make sure it's not going to tip over. You know, just at the basic level, construct it well. And other than that, spend the absolute bare minimum amount of money. Now, I will say that out of my 7 rigs, since we used all used parts and whatever, we had 1 hard drive failure. We knew the hard drive had 45,000 hours on it. I checked it ahead of time. So it is what it is. I just reloaded Windows real quick, set it all back up, and there you go. I mean, I was back up and running within 2 hours. So not the biggest deal in the world. The one thing is I wouldn't necessarily disable Windows updates, especially because literally this upcoming Tuesday, like January 10th or whatever it is, they're releasing a critical security patch. You don't want a Bitcoin miner sitting there on the internet, like not getting patched. That would be bad. You could get hacked. So don't just disable all updates. You won't get the security updates either. So that's one thing I don't recommend doing. So also check the description of this video for all the things that I forgot over time that I'm sure I'm adding to the description when people leave comments and tell me what I forgot. But other than that, this is by far the most accurate and extensive, like how-to, step-by-step, how to build a miner. If you're really interested, I'll make like a how to pick out what hardware and profitability calculators, that kind of stuff, how to set it up if it's high wattage, low wattage, how to shop for a power supply that has the correct amount of rails and hookups and all that stuff. I can make that video pretty easily too if you guys are interested. Otherwise it's more of a forum thread thing, but let me know down in the comment section, and send this video to anybody that you think should set up their own rig, especially if they're scared to do it, because Following these instructions, I guarantee anybody could do it. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a big old thumbs up on this video, and I'll see you guys next video.